Hi, I'm Zach Weiss, co-founder of Warner Wound, and this is the 2020 Virtual Windup Watch Fair. Founded in 1925 and based in Pforzheim, Germany, Laco is a brand with significant heritage. Today we're speaking with Chad Tsagris, Laco's head of US sales, to discuss Laco's history and two recent limited edition watches. And now, here's our interview with Chad. Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for Virtual Windup Watch Fair. Today I am joined by Chad Tsagris of Laco Watches. Thanks for joining us, Chad.
Thank you guys for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, our pleasure, for sure. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Laco Watches?
So I'm a head of US sales for all Laco watches, and I'm also a buyer and director of distribution at Watch Gang, the subscription company as well.
How long have you been with Laco?
I've been with them for 3 years. We started partnering with them about 3 years ago when I moved to California with the Watch Gang. We have several other brands as well, and this is one of our most proud brands that we get to work with and have a rich history.
So can you tell us a little bit about the Laco brand, briefly go over its history just for people who might not be quite aware of?
Yeah, so they're one of the original 5 Flieger watch companies that manufactured for the German army from the 1930s through the 1940s. Sticking to their heritage of the Flieger watch, which they were pretty much one of the founding companies of, with IWC, Wimpe, and Lang & Son, and Stova. And they've been around since 1925. We're approaching our 100-year anniversary in 5 years, and we're really sticking to our heritage of the Flieger style watch.
Laco is based in Germany, in Pforzheim, Germany. Is that correct?
City of white gold is what Pforzheim is known for, and Flieger watches, because both Stova and Laco are in Pforzheim, Germany.
Right. And so can you tell us a little bit about Laco's manufacturing capabilities in Pforzheim?
Yeah, so we just redid our head office in, I think, 2019 it got finished. And it's a 3-story office. We have 1 floor dedicated just to our watchmaking. We have many techs and watchmakers on site. You know, the fact that we're an independent company that is able to do most of our work in-house for our assembly and manufacturing of our watches is quite unique for the area. And, you know, we don't really overproduce. We produce exactly how much we need for our sales internationally. And we are able, because of our small and in-house and how we're doing things, to make really cool projects and small batch limited editions like we've done in the past with Topper Jewelers or the Radox, which we did, which I'm happy to be wearing actually today. And things that normal big companies would not be able to do just because we have such good control over our manufacturing.
Yeah, that's definitely an exceptional ability they have, and I think the Radox is a very good example of that, and the other Erbstück watches because of the level of unique finish that go into that.
Yeah, the Erbstück watches are, you know, something that in the last 5 years that we've been developing and working on, and they're a really unique way to have a vintage style watch with modern components. And, you know, it's funny, I've sold so many of them over the years, and customers will literally look at 3 of the exact same one because they never will be the exact same. And it's choosing the one that speaks to somebody individually, and each strike of the hammer and each patina on the dial is completely different. If you had 100 in front of you, all 100 of them will be different. And then there's different ways that we Erbstück from a level 1 to a level 3. With a level 3, where the hands are all cracked, where the dial's cracked, there's loom falling out. It literally is destroyed, it looks like. As the level 1 is more of a lighter patina and finish. Right. Most that come out of the factory are level 2. That's where we have the comfort zone that we find that people are happy with because they want all that loom and they want the dial to have a modern feel to it, which is nice with the Erbstück is you have everything in a modern way, but it looks like something out of 1920s, 1930s. That's had a really hard life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're exceptional, and I encourage anyone watching this now to see one in person when you can. At the next in-person wind-up fair.
I agree. It's something to see in person, even if you're not a fan of the Fliegers or the faux patina look. When you see the craftsmanship that goes into an Erbstück watch, you kind of go, okay, I get it. It is not just making something look old. It is literally taking the dirt and patina over the years that would normally take decades to happen in a very short time period.
Very cool, very cool. So today we're actually getting to talk about two brand new watches that are announced, just for 2020. Both are limited editions. So we'll start first with the watch called the Laco Edition 95. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
These are awesome. So, like I said before, in 2025, we're going to have our 100th year anniversary. We were talking, and the team in Germany decided that a way to celebrate our 100-year anniversary is to create editions for the next 5 years for collectors of Laco that speak to the history of the brand, and also we're doing a count up. So next year we're going to have 96 in our limited edition. The year after we're going to have 97 in our limited edition, so on and so forth, to 100 pieces of the 2025 watch. So this watch was based off of our Navy watches, which we made for the German Navy. It was a pocket watch style with a Unitas movement, and this is a more wearable wristwatch style, but paying homage to the Navy watches, and that's why it's in the Navy family with the nice hand wind movement and the open exhibition case back. And there's only going to be 95 pieces of this made.
Can you tell us why the dial is blue? Is that something that it's going to be true across all of these editions?
So no, everyone's going to be a little bit different. I think that this one was blue because it just represents the sea in the North Sea where they were making these watches. It's a striking color of blue, which is nice. And, we've been in the last 3 years, I can say, we've been really experimenting with colors, as normally Laco is very black dials, white dials, very almost a Bauhaus to a very German neutral. And, we've released things like the Taupe limited edition the last 2 years. We're going to be continuing that Aachen and Augsburg limited edition series with colorful dials, because I think it's a way to play and show modernization, but still pay homage to our history.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see. I mean, we're so used to, like you said, like the black dial Flieger, occasionally a white dial. So sometimes you need a little bit more of a modern touch,
Exactly. And the way that we did this, last year we did a Navy watch with Topper Jewelers in Burlingame. And we did the indices in the tempered blue, matching the tempered blue hands, playing to our history of making tempered blue hands, but, going to another level where, it was something outside of our norm in a very small limited edition. And then this year we were talking and coming to the 95th anniversary, and we thought maybe, we did the tempered blue last year, but let's just do a blue dial this year, because blue dials, I think, to me, are my favorite color for watch dials. I have a weakness when I purchase watches personally. They tend to happen to be a lot of blue dials. Yeah. So.
And, I actually have the watch in front of me, and it is a striking blue with a really nice brushed metal texture. It's not quite like a saturated paint. It's a little bit more low key than that, which I personally like. And I like, you were talking about the tempered blue hands that Laco makes, and that they use that on the blue dial, but had some really nice paint touches to still make it pop out. It's very elegant, which is quite nice.
It's very elegant, and I think that this is a piece that's really been allocated, so it's going to be pretty rare and harder to find in a very short time. There's going to be a few in the U.S., but it's going to be going around the world. That we only made 95 of them, and it wasn't for a closed market like I've done in the past, making things for the U.S. But this is going to be something I think that's going to be great for collectors of Laco, so that over the next 5 years, they have one watch or two watches to look forward to of limited editions. And we're going to conclude the collection with having a collector's box that we're going to have for people who've managed to get all of them.
That's very cool. That makes it very tempting to start now. And so this is limited to 95 pieces, and it is $1,560. That is correct?
Correct. That's it. It's going to be 1,560. We limited that to 95 pieces, celebrating our 95th anniversary. And next year, you'll have to see what else we're going to be bringing out for continuing our historical journey to our 100-year anniversary.
I'm looking forward to it. In addition to the Laco Edition 95, there is another limited edition this year, one that I think I personally am really a fan of, and that is the Munkan Chronograph. Can you tell us about that watch?
Yeah, this is a lot of fun, this watch. It's we've been doing things in the past couple of years where we're basically modernizing what the vintage or the classic Flieger would be like in a modern way. So last year we brought out the GMTs. This year we decided to make 200 pieces of this 42 millimeter chronograph. Chronographs typically aren't in the Type A and Type B dial, so this is like a Type C type of dial, and it's sticking to the heritage of what a Flieger means, with the straight lugs, with the tempered blue hands, with tons of lume on the dial, which Laco is very well known for, our lume. And it's just a little bit of a modernization of the classic Flieger watch.
Yeah, and it's, once again, I have this watch in front of me, and I really like the mix of that original Flieger style case that, Laco does so well, especially with that really dark matte finish that I really associate with the Laco Fliegers, but integrating the complexity of a chronograph in there. And one decision that I really like is the fact that everything on the chronograph function and the date is gray. Can you just talk a little bit about that? It's a really nice detail.
So that was to mute it to be more like an A dial. It was to make it not stand out and be a little more discreet of the chronograph function instead of being in your face and doing it in a panda or a different color or contrasting color. Because traditionally, a Flieger watch was not supposed to be flashy or any type of reflection because it was a military-made watch. The case was made gray originally by paint. Now we do the sandblasting. And that was so that it had no flash or shine. By putting the gray tones on this dial, it mutes the dial and mutes the chronograph a little bit to make it an actual tool watch, which would have been functional and meeting the specifications. One thing that's different about this one in the chronograph is that it actually has the Laco on the dial. Normally, we do not put on any of our Flieger watches in the classic line of Fliegers or the original Fliegers the logo because they weren't supposed to be status symbols. This is again going to our modernization, a little more playful by having our logo on the dial and having the gray contrast.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't even think about that at first, but that makes sense also because it acknowledges that it isn't a recreation of a historical piece as well. It is a modern watch.
Yeah, if you look at our replicas, like our 55 millimeter, that follows the exact specifications for a classic Flieger watch. It's very rare on the pilot watches in the original collection that there is any logos ever on the dials.
Yeah. No, this is a beautiful watch, and as a chronograph fan, you sometimes feel like you've seen it all, and then something a little bit different comes out, and I would just put this into that category. It's a really nice execution of both a Flieger and a chronograph.
And I think it's nice that we only made 200 pieces of this. I'm a firm believer in watches that certain watches in certain collections has a certain amount of customers and people, and I always like to make lower volumes to that so that we can show off and that it can become a very collectible and rare thing, because I think part of collecting watches is being able to have bragging rights a little bit of things that you own or have in your collections.
Yeah, no, certainly. And 200, I mean, that makes it quite collectible for sure. So.
And again, this is going to be allocated to certain countries and certain retailers. So it's going to be, again, kind of like a needle in the haystack, something a little more challenging to find, after it's been sold out.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. We're very excited that it gets to be a part of the Virtual Windup Watch Fair. So this model, limited edition 200 units, and this comes in at $2,400?
Correct. And that's staying within reason of where all of our chronographs are priced, and they're around $2,200 to $2,500. The price naturally is a little higher just because of the limited nature of this, and that we didn't mass produce dials or cases, and that we actually had to spend time to develop a chronograph case for our Flieger. So we're only making 200 pieces, but we actually had to develop a new case and new molds for this watch.
Oh yeah, that's very cool. And I actually, I like how oversized the pushers are on it. They're noticeably very large pushers, which is very cool.
I think it has to be with the big onion crown that you have to basically have a bit oversized to balance the watch out. Because if you had small little pushers and a big onion crown, it might not look quite balanced. So I think that's a very good feature that our design team worked on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they did an excellent job. So Chad, I guess that kind of wraps up these new launches, the limited editions. Is there anything else that Laco has planned for the near future that you'd like to share with us and our audience?
The thing that we're really, really excited about is continuing down the path which we've been doing the last 5 years, which is coming up with new ways and innovative ways to recreate the pilot watches. Also working on our affordable collection in the new, like the taupe dials and limited editions that are, something that's attainable for every type of collector of any price level. And then also looking forward to our 100-year anniversary and bringing out new novelties every year that kind of have our heritage and that are showing the DNA of the company to celebrate that 100-year anniversary.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. It's been very exciting to watch Laco in the last couple of years continue to produce just wonderful, wonderful products. From the taupe dials you referred to last year's Frankfurt GMTs. That was a personal favorite of mine, to these great watches in front of us. So,
personal favorite of mine, the Frankfurt GMT as well. It's something that is something really special. I recommend anyone who has a chance to see one in person to check it out, because it is something quite unique, and pictures don't really do it justice of what it actually feels like and wears on the wrist.
Yeah, for sure. The finishing is hard to capture. So
it's the same like our Erbstück collection. It's the Radox, when we made that, that was probably the largest step outside of the realm of normal watchmaking from a German watch company to bring that out. And that, I think, really shows that there are some young people with some innovation in Pforzheim that are open-minded to some of my and other people's crazy American ideas of what could be cool.
Yeah. No, that's excellent and very exciting to see a traditional company kind of be willing to be playful and experimental. So
we hope to continue that for the future. So,
well, excellent. Well, Chad, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Yeah.
Thank you very much.